freeze time, and you come back in now against higher opposition, needing to perform just a little bit better. They'll be starting from the T side to try to show off what they can or can't. Fnatic with the knife round win, start out on the defense.
Right now, looking to get a quick play in towards this A side. Actually, they're stopping for absolutely no one. There's Dooley's on top of the hut. JT and Fang, though, to open up proceedings, and Halzerk, the icing on the cake right there. Pepsor and Nikadas left last man standing. Only 2 players to try and retake the one. Out towards Heaven and over towards Mini, but I think they're looking to double up here towards Heaven. And while Peps are going to drop here quickly, there isn't really much of an option for Nikadas to try this retake.
Yeah, a bit labored, gotta say, man. So, it's kind of unfortunate the way it pans out, but for Complexity, I mean, they're already popping open the bottle of champagne. Look, we talk about T-sides in the current meta, and you don't expect many rounds out of them, so when you win the pistol, it just means all the much more. Especially on a map like Nuke, where you can probably take this for 2-3 rounds. That's if you're lucky, but who isn't going to be lucky is Nikadas taking a fight in secret as his position's been exposed. He, I guess, might be lucky in the sense that he won't die, but Fnatic are not in the same boat.
A nice pistol round to close out right there. For Complexity. Hard work being done, but at least that's the first open up proceedings right there. I like the way they played that one out as well. With the fast A aggression. Usually, those dualies on the hut, though, they can do all the damage. They do so much work, but in this occasion, not able to have too much impact.
Yeah, the dualies have been working wonders today, too, so it's kind of surprising. We think of those 500 games, and Ships was absolutely farming with the double guns. About time, though. I'm tired of hearing people talk up those guns. Those guns suck.
Gosh, just what I think. Your takes on guns could get
My
any
takes
worse.
on guns are based. I am based. You are cringe.
Can't believe you're hating on the dualies right now, although you might get one of your favorite guns in the FAMAS, although I think you could also might just go for the Scout instead, and yeah, that's what
So
we'll
lame.
do. No FAMAS on this occasion. But an MP9 in Fasher's hands and a couple of Deagles here, so Complexity, they must tread lightly on this purchase because we know how close range Nuke can be. These MP9s can really sing a lot of smokes as well to just try and buy time.
I like this. I think they're accounting for the fact that there's going to be maybe a force buy in the mix. If it's an anti-strat or not, I'm pretty sure they're just playing around the fact that you don't want to give these close-range guns the close-range fights. Instead, go to one of the longest spots on, or rather in the game. Still won't stop Fasher, doing one and then some damage onto the others, but with Halzerk behind the boys, I don't think there's any potential players to fall. Yeah, triple entry into the B site for Complexity. And they still keep it slow. Moderate in the pacing department. They don't want to give up any unnecessary kills. Hold on to as many guns as possible, because so far they've only lost a Mac 10.
Yeah, that's very valuable here, but there's a couple low HP bars. Grim and Halzerk put on notice this Scout can do a whole lot more work on these low HP, but great utility right there to make they cross in towards the site with safety. And now that Pepsor's been taken care of, there's no question about which way this round's going. Nikadas off to save here, call it a day, and Complexity up to 2. I said they had to tread lightly in this round, but apparently stopping out towards the outer yard is exactly what they needed to do.
Now that they dealt with this, I mean, you can only assume Nikadas has got a scout in his hands on a force like this. It's not a hard thing to predict. So I wonder if next round you do like the exact opposite, the antithesis of this. You go maybe for an inner pop, a ramp rush, where he's probably not going to be sitting with the only gun Fnatic will have.
I just hope to avoid it, that's for sure, but I mean, even still, it's only that Scout that's left in play here. So you're not even too worried about that unless Nikadas can start plucking some heads off, and that's a bit of a tricky task. Nice conversion right there, showing some confidence early on. We got the same Complexity, though, in the last map, so I don't really want to call things too quickly, because I feel like what they show is some great, early strategies, some great ideas in the early game, and sometimes I feel like they do fizzle out, right? They do struggle when it comes to these late round scenarios, when it comes to the late halves, rather, and Fnatic isn't really the case for them.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I thought there was possibility to see the worst shotgun in the game. Want some gun hot takes straight from the press. I've told you the worst shotgun, right?
What do you think it is? Mag 7?
All around, the worst shotgun and I know you're instantly going to try to shut this down, is the XM10.
Yeah, I mean, it has its uses, though. I think on this map more so than any. Sometimes it can just be super effective. Although, no shotguns out, no funny business in play right now for Fnatic, because they just try and prioritize the rifles here. Utility toss in towards this A bomb site. It is a little bit of a stack, though. It is only USP, so they're just going to chew on through this one. Quick and easy work. All the pistols hitting the deck, and again, Nikodas. Yet to go down so far in this game.
Don't jinx it, though. So it might be a bit too late. Yeah, this is your fault. You did this. Nikodas fans at home, blame Exner. It's all his fault here, but still going to fight his way out of the corner he's been put into. Halzerk will end it with a quick dink. However, Complexity, it's a strong 3-0 start. The rifles are still, I'd say, fairly downgraded to Galil's, but, I mean, you win this round right here and you won't care what you're working with.
Yeah, this hot start here, they want to continue it. They want to hold on to this momentum for as long as possible. Make sure that they do not cool off here. Up to 3-0 now, but here's where their metal's really going to be tested up against this full purchase. Nikodas included in the AWP department. So, got a whole lot here. Nade stack, I think, going towards the back of Silo. I wonder if that's going to catch off Basher. No, it's a lot of damage converted, but not the kill, but Floppy, he's going to be the one to finish it.
I do like it. I mean, we see, or at least we saw on Overpass, Complexity bring so many of these like nade tricks out of the back pocket. I honestly think it's like an innovation. Like we talked about innovations earlier with 500s T sides. I definitely think Complexity is doing a little bit of that right now. Hepsort, well, he was put on a pedestal last game against 500. This time, gonna have to fight his way out of the little cubby he's stuck in ramp. A lot of players to find, but around every single corner is an eager and hungry Complexity member. Floppy, he'll be the one cleaning up the kill with a 3-on-5. Fnatic might just bode farewell to this round if things don't start turning this corner in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's a bit gimmicky in the way they open up rounds, but you got to give so much credit to the sort of research that JT can do and the plays that he calls in. Although this round is not converted by any means. Mezzi going to strike things back, but gets spammed down through the wall. Fang looking to keep things in nice contention. That smoke's going to fade soon, but not in time to find the kill. This Molly can flush him out of position, though, and that might just be enough to at least deny the bomb plant for now.
Well, you talked about Grim, and that's kind of why, because he can just do stuff like that sometimes, and it's kind of hard to contest against it now, isn't it? When you just wide swing left side peek the offer and ramp and one tap him. Best way to summarize that is unlucky. Complexity, though, quite the opposite, as they have a 4-0 hot start on Nuke.
Yeah, that's a really good start right there. Timeout's called out, though. This is what we've already talked about. Fnatic, they had this similar slow start versus 500, where they couldn't really get the ball moving. And honestly, if we're talking about familiarities, Complexity, they had a similar hot start on the T side where they did throw all of these cool little trick plays out, where they did find fancy openers and nice ways to manufacture quick picks. But it was not lasting long enough here to keep things contained here. So Complexity, I think they want to keep some of that same success here, and they should be able to do it up against the Pistols. It'll be a nice 5-0 start here. Again, this is so promising for this T-side start.
Yeah, where again, you pretty much already added up as many rounds as you really need on Nuke for the T side. But we said the same thing on Overpass, and look where that went. Well, this one's going into the A side again. Complexity have found some form of a safe haven here. A couple of times now they've rushed in. This time it might not be stacked, but still the case remains the same that there is no worry for them. Fleeting hopes for Fnatic's CT side start, as they are only inches away from giving up that guaranteed 5th round. And the rifles are going to come back out, but again, you got to wonder, what happens if Complexity win it then?
Yeah, I mean, that's a start that's very hard to quiet down. So far, this has been very fast and quick on this 5-0 kickoff here. And what's so scary about it is that Floppy is showing up into the server. We talked about the duo of Fang and Grim in that last map that they played on Overpass. They were playing incredible. Fang actually individually leading the pack in that last map, but Floppy on Nuke so far has been the one doing a lot of the heavy lifting He was the one on that first gun round that found the opening pick and then followed it up with a second opening pick on the ramp side.
Fnatic need a little bit of that luck. They need a little bit of that opening prowess that Floppy's bringing for complexity. Something's got to flick on here for Fnatic soon, or we'll start getting worried for their own safety. Nikados, I told you about the op duel between him and Halzerk, but we've yet to see it. It doesn't look like it's going to come in this round either, at least just yet. Halzerk way behind the pack and T-spawn, just throwing in utility. It seems like they're going to go for an outside take, and Nikados isn't even in the right vicinity to contend against it. He's just falling back to CT spawn.
We've got Floppy down the vents here, so not only is Roy having to fight a war on two fronts, but there's a lot of presence heading his way towards that secret side here. And he has to turn his attention. He has to keep it split between two different directions, but he might pick the right timing. It's only a one and done, though. In the meantime, JT going to hit the deck. Nikados on the op. I don't know if there's a gap in that smoke. It looks like there is, and eventually they'll cross by, but now they're at a man deficit here when they could have maybe safely crossed. A comfortable 4-on-4.
And now they just wait. They want to see if Fnatic give them anything back. Right now, there's technically nobody on lower, but Pepsor will be there on a quick reaction if they end up opening the door. Instead, though, it's Nikados plucking them apart piece by piece. Halzerk still has control of the bomb. With now that kill coming through, Pepsor is just tucked into lower. He's prepared for this site take to come through, and he's going to have assistance for it. All he's got to do, by a couple of precious seconds, Molly is perfect coming through from Halzerk, but the kill isn't there. And it's all up to Floppy. Can they stop the flop? Apparently, yes, without any question about it, too. Not close to another kill coming through from ramp. Complexity finally bleed for one round as Fnatic get ready to wake up.
There you go. There's smiles here. They're quite happy with that end result there. Nikados getting away with a whole lot in that round. Has a lot to be happy about. Beautiful stuff from him. And again, you said that he's an operator that's not afraid to get proactive on that T side. Well, he's not afraid to get proactive on the CT side as well when it matters. When they need to get the ball moving here, he's going to be that facilitator.
It's also good to know that now every Fnatic member has gotten a kill, so no James Bond in the server, as much as it may or may not sadden me. Oh, but that ain't going to sadden Complexity, man. They just found another double opener. This was another strong suit, surprisingly enough, that we saw in Overpass. The amount of times they were able to just double entry into sites and different spots on the map.
Yeah, they've just nailed 2 kills. 2 separate positions, mini and ramp side. They're able to deal with Pepsor quick and easy on that ramp side here. And Fasher stuck between the flames and a smoke. Not many options, but Roy's going to pluck one. And a quick kill is going to delay this retake. Are they interested in continuing this forward, though? I don't know how much commitment they want to make, and I think they've already made their decision to call this one off.
Yeah, it's a bit messy. And I do like them calling it off, but still, you got to realize the opportunity cost at some point of these saves in comparison to giving over these rounds to Complexity, where we saw this exact score against 500. They still managed to pull it back. They still managed to make a game out of it and take it from Complexity. But Fnatic, again, it feels different. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to do that as consistently. Like, they haven't shown us any reason to think they can win these CT-sided rounds. Even think of the only conversion they have at this point, and it kind of comes off a lucky flash peek. A good timing for Roy. We talked about how Floppy could have crunched them down and lower, but they didn't. They didn't get that in time, gave away too many picks, and Complexity just don't make the same mistake twice. They change it instantly and don't let Fnatic get anything going.
Yeah, it's a great adaptation. It's something that we needed to see out of Complexity as well, because I feel like we did lack a little bit of adaptability when it comes to Overpass, when it comes to 500, because they had those strong starts. They had the strat book that was going so well early on, but when things started to switch up on them, I don't know if they had the right reads, and I don't know if they had the reactions necessary. But early on, we see, you know, a lost round into an immediate reply, and a good one at that. I feel like Pepsor, he had a whole lot of momentum off that last map, though, and right now I think he's going for maybe some plays that are too brazen, despite him feeling the maximum confidence, right? He's probably in the back of his mind knowing what he's capable of, knowing what he can do. But a couple of these rounds he's been punished, and he's lost ramp as a result, and that is such a crucial position.
It is. They do keep losing ramp, and it's a consistent issue for Fnatic they need to address before things get too far out of hand, if they haven't already. But this time, Pepsor actually gets a little more aggressive with it. I kind of like him not really showing signs of fear, but can't blame him when he's got Nikodas behind him. It's going to be hard to crack through that walnut of a defense, but won't be as hard as if you can find Roy having kills through his smoke. Again, it's not something you can consistently rely on, but when you do get him, you got to be able to pick up the round from that point forward. And it's, by the looks of things, it looks like that might just be the case. Nikodas almost gets a free pick here shortly. Floppy, you can tell he wants to go for this peak. I'm not surprised to see him go for it in the long run. Grim even spotted out here too, so things weren't bad enough. Fnatic have the read of where the remaining Complexity players are. It's all about locking in the kills at this point.
Yeah, get some extra frags, although you don't really want to discount this deadly trio. Now that Grim's been bested, maybe you can. There's opportunities start to dwindle, and Pepsor playing in a position that's worked once before with a whole lot more support standing right behind him. Making this round near impossible. 20 seconds left, and I feel like if you're Complexity, I mean, you might as well go for it. You have a lot of money, and maybe Halzer can encourage further damage here. 2 kills and a bomb plant. That would be incredible, but he's going to try for a third. Halzer making the impossible happen. Another fake on the bomb. He finds a fourth. One more around the corner. Roy finally going to put an end to things here, but he almost made it happen.
Dude, I don't know what happened. I thought he was going to close the door there, and he would have easily been able to isolate those fights. The only problem was he couldn't cock the gun back in time to get that 5th shot off. You could only imagine he's good enough to find the clutch there. I imagine he wanted to close the door. You got to think that's what he was trying to do after he spotted the second and heard the footsteps running in behind him. But it doesn't matter. You've just gotten 4 kills. You've just decimated their money. That one round they won is still absolutely nothing in meaning to them. Because it's still just right back to square one, where you are so fragile in the money department that a slight eco break would destroy you. And they're going to go rushing into A to try to solidify that. It's no surprise considering how comfortable it's been. Bang, another double entry. Complexity, it's a stat they've been so reliant on, and it's not going to change here. Bomb's going to go down at the lower bomb site, and Fnatic are stuck in chaos. Where do we go? The distribution, just the movement of these CT players, they don't know what to do.
Fang doing what he does best right now, it seems, on this T side. Double entry coming through from him. And they're going to feel the worst end of that last round that Halzer just gave with the 4 kills on the exit. In this round here to come. I mean, obviously there's a save, so that's going to at least relieve some stress, but Complexity, they make the response look oh so easy. Just popping out towards that A side, catching them off guard. Some slight frustration has to be kicking in right there after a round like that as well. And this is looking to be a revitalized Cole. As I lost to 500. I really thought that was going to set some frustration in the long term, but the smiles on the faces heading into this matchup and the way that they're looking to kick this one off, they're proving me wrong.
Yeah, I agree, man. It does kind of feel like Complexity, you're not going to let that one hold them down. I mean, they already shown that they haven't. And now they've got 6 rounds to try to add up more than they had found on the T side and Overpass. Surprising how, like, T-sided the showings have been today. Like, in both of the 500 games, well, okay, maybe not so much well, I guess actually, no, the Fnatic one does count too. I believe every half was T-sided winning. Actually, except one, where, you know, 8-7 start for 500 against Complexity, but then they'd go on to win 8 T rounds. Fnatic, 10 T rounds, then 500 again, 6 T rounds. It's really surprising to see, and it's a rare occurrence, but one that's welcome.
Yeah, I mean, after the major, where we've seen just constant CT dominance, especially on a map like Overpass and now onto Nuke, you just don't expect it, but it's impressive. Graham putting up proceedings right there, and Fang continues to follow it up. There's still more presence that they don't expect. Nikodas holding steady, but he's only good for 1. And that is going to be the A-bomb site cracked open.
Do they even want to attempt this? Oh, my lord. Oh, my. They have been utterly bamboozled. They're going down lower. This is a B hit. Fnatic, they now have to add a good 5-10 seconds to this retake if they want to make this possible. But again, the opportunity cost is what's interesting them in this retake, but it's also getting them killed. Decimated JT. Leveled out Roy, and I don't think there's going to be much left to a round like this for Fnatic. Pepsor has got no intentions of going down to that lower bomb site. Instead, just recover the op. give it to Nikados in the next round, see if he can't work with it. But Complexity have now guaranteed 1.5. They've sent them packing to yet another eco. And Fnatic have to, again, face their fears of a very scary Complexity.
They've just won the half here on the T side of Nuke, and we are only 10 rounds deep. That's a scary prospect here for Fnatic. And this would be a huge lifeline. If Complexity came into this event, started things off 0-2, and then finished off failing to make playoffs, that it wouldn't look pretty for them. It wouldn't look pretty for the remainder of this year for this roster. But this response, this immediate resurgence in form after that tough loss.
You know,
so much capability.
Kind of happy to see this from Complexity right now. Because I remember, you know, hinting in the pregame about Fnatic probably shouldn't have picked into Nuke against Complexity. People were like, no, what are you talking about? Fnatic's Nuke is nuts. You don't know what you're talking about. Huh. This is why, man. They're scary. Like, this is one of their best maps for good reason.
Yeah, I feel like they had such a good winning formula as well for Fnatic, right? With Pepsor feeling comfortable. Right now, it doesn't look like he's all that comfortable over in this ramp position. Maybe that's a testament to kind of standing in and how hard this position is to play. But you maybe should have picked towards that devil that you know and overpass. Because right now you could be regretting it. Nuke looks to be troubling territory for them at the moment, at least in this first half. They've rotated this op over and towards ramp side. Smoke in the utility is going to keep him at bay, and actually wisely see a lack of commitment here. They're just going to reroute towards this A side.
And finally, Fnatic have shown some good signs on the initial hold, with Roy to potentially double down on that fact. These pistols are starting to put up a hefty fight, and they're paying a heavy price. Bomb dropped. It's Antslaw in full effect. Complexity only up to Fang. And he's so far been the only one to find a kill. Pepsor even getting a bit investigative as to what's going on in lobby, and he'll find a kill with it. Beautiful shutdown from Fnatic, surprisingly enough, on the pistols, no less. Little resurgence from the CT side, but again, they'll take it.
It's late than never there. That's certainly welcome, though. They needed a round like that to activate here. They didn't want to keep on dropping things down. They keep on letting Complexity close out these rounds, so they do catch up in a little bit of hesitation, to be honest. One thing I just noticed here is that Roy is wielding the 5-7. He's no longer a CZ god, which I think he was like the only player that could have made a case to use the CZ, but apparently he's good with any pistol. He finds the big 2K. Oh, Nikados. He's able to just find the timing on a JT. These smoke spams have been very promising for Fnatic at the very least. And that one's going to help out big time here. The IGL has to call from the sidelines now.
That's what I've been waiting for, man. Nikados is yet to really activate with this AWP. I mean, we've seen a couple of good stuff from him, but it's usually been like either saving the op or trying to get away. Not necessarily impact kills. That bit of a change of pace. And one that Fnatic need to get back into this game right now, because while obviously the score in front of you is very daunting, you have to take these rounds as they come and potentially work from the back foot for the rest of the game. It's just the situation you've left yourselves in. It doesn't mean you're going to just, you know, lay down and give up, but also doesn't mean it favors you in the slightest. Halzer finally gets a trade back with Pepsor fleeing into the lower bomb site, but now they need to push the envelope over in J-Hall, where Roy is ready and waiting. Only a soft clear before they get ready to go pouncing into B, or maybe no. It looks like they could go anywhere. For a second, it even looked like they were going to go back into the lobby, but now they will end up walking into that stacked up lower site.
A worst case scenario here for Complexity. They're going to walk right on into the jaws of Fnatic, waiting for them with open arms. Pepsor, the first to combat this aggression. He does have some support here in the single door, but he immediately gets taken care of by Floppy, and the support gets smoked off. So there's no help here other than in towards the double doors.
That's it. I mean, surprisingly enough, they can't capitalize on the pick that Nikados grants them through a smoke outside. You'd think that was the magic recipe they needed to add up to a converted round. But the sum apparently is not as great as the whole, or as the addition of its parts. Because Complexity, they just keep picking those parts apart and apart. Like, it doesn't ever really feel like Fnatic have a foothold in these rounds. Even when they get opening frags, even when they get man advantages, it's always stolen back by some insane double entry, some great trades, insane util placement. This is a Complexity that's comfortable, getting out of hand and starting to feel themselves. Back into the A site they go. Hunky-dory, peachy keen, but a 2-for-3 trade. Maybe not living up to that tally mark. Halzerk not even going to bother clearing the corner, and Pepsor will clean up the round. So a salty finish that's showing from Fnatic, but they need any round they can get.
Oh, at least that's a pretty quick reply there. They just try and toss it in towards the A-bomb site. We've seen them do that off of round conversions before, so it's no surprise that Complexity try and run that similar A-side pop, but this time much more presence, many more kills for Fnatic. So getting some maybe stability rounds here towards the tail end of this half. Complexity forced to actually call a timeout. Maybe some discussion about what they want to do with this purchase, and actually the decision at the end of the day is go for the force buy here in classic North American Counter-Strike fashion. I'll call in for a couple of AKs here, a couple of Mac 10s and Tech 9s for Halzerk and JT. So it is lacking, but I feel like with how well Floppy's been playing, with how well Grim's been entering, you can kind of afford this risk at this point.
I mean, why not? I think it's more so in the fact that, like, next round, is it really going to be worth it? I don't know. It's like if you get a bomb plant down here and, you know, Complexity end up losing, it's still just going to be a buy similar to this, where you just get to run it back twice instead of only having one opportunity. Again, I'm with you, though. It doesn't really matter. At worst case, you're walking away with 9 rounds. You only gave away 3 in succession at the end. Like, it doesn't matter at this point for Complexity. Just about really starting to rub in the dominance. But, yeah, you're getting farmed up on A. Finally, they figured out how to hold down the A site consistently.
Yeah, Floppy went on the aggro. He had such the right idea right there to try and take that fight towards the opposite side vent there, but I think he got flashed up, maybe mistimed the aggression. So in the end, it looks a little bit silly. That force buy gets swiped aside. So rather than giving themselves a chance to buy up in this last with all the fighting power here, it's going to be actually Fnatic that could close out this half with a little momentum favoring them.
It's another tidbit of help they'll get going forward. Still does kind of rely a lot on what they do on this next pistol, but you want to shut this down as quickly as possible. It's only really against pistols, so can't imagine they're going to have that much of a tough time dealing with it, but they gave up a kill at least. I thought maybe it'd go further AWOL, like Messi, he fought 3 players in lower. You'd think they would have found the trade, but without it, I think Complexity's chances go down the gutter.
Yeah, that's one of those rounds where you just know there's a 1-for-1 coming, right? Because Messi's just holding an angle, kind of an off angle of sorts, with 3 pistols heading his way, right? The Tech 9 can do so much damage, but Messi, again, we've talked about his individual form, his ability to both call and frag, and frag he will in this round. It's just one left standing here in Fang. And this task a little too tall for anybody.
And this is another hot start from Complexity that kind of fizzles out a little bit. Now, again, I did say it is only 3 rounds in a row, so it's not the biggest of ordeals, especially with the round count you end up in this half with. But it is worth noting, in my eyes, that, like, they also went into that side of, or to that second half of Overpass, lost a lot of energy, started to lack presence around the map. That hasn't happened here. They haven't let it get the better of them. That's something I like to see.
Yeah, need to keep that mental nice and high here if they want to keep it on here. Try and make it into playoffs, and definitely winning this pistol though for Fnatic on the counterpart is going to be oh so important. But look at them press the issue in towards lobby. They don't even allow them to establish foothold on this execute before they punish them. They push too deep in towards lobby, and look at this. Floppy has coverage towards the outer yard. We're going to hit the deck 2-on-4 immediately, and first things first, they have to get the bomb.
And it's not even like Pepsor's being quiet about this. Anonymity is no longer a thing. The only person who has the shadow of disguise is Nikados, and his teammate might fall before he can even get here to assist. Pepsor, I think, his only objective right now is to stay alive so Nikados can try to make a case for this one. But then you've got Halzerk's dualies to try to go through. There's a crossfire set up in this Wiki door. Somewhat giving up the bomb, but that's a bit worrying. 2 kills come back, and now they have an open avenue into whichever bomb site they want. Floppy, Ben spotted. He's trying to come through from a click flank, but He won't be able to strike in time. Instead, going to go back, regroup around the vents. But they're going all the way around the world. He's right onto this. You can't get in front of him. You can't beat him. He knows exactly what's going on with the bomb dropped in heaven. Luckily enough for Nikados, it's dropped into his welcoming arms. A 1v1 that Floppy looks to win as he goes atop the Tetris boxes and takes an offensive angle on the top of the hut. You can't stop the Flop with a kit in hand. He'll win the pistol for Complexity almost single-handedly.
That is incredible work right there from Floppy. That kill towards the outer yard was so sharp, but then closing up that 1v2 when all else was going wrong. Beautiful work in the recovery there, because I really felt like Fnatic got away with so much. 4-on-2. Look at that bomb in the palm of their hands, and all of a sudden they find the kills necessary to get back into that round, all just to fall to Flop. And fall they will.
As one Japanese singer said, it all comes tumbling down. I will not elaborate further, but what I can elaborate on is this buy being a little bit dicey for Fnatic. I don't disagree with it per se. It's just more so that it's a big risk to be taking in a situation like this where if you lose it and give up 12 rounds to Complexity, it's almost an unworldly comeback you'll have to pull off. And you're only really adding up a couple of deagles in a round like this. Floppy walking straight into him, the clutcher of the previous round. Well, he's going to be the first test here, or maybe not. Fasher. Good opener on the MAC-10 outside, but the trades are still beneficial for Complexity as they get to dunk into the lower bomb site. Tuck is here, and the crossfire is set, needing to clear the close angle. They don't do it in time, and Floppy doubles down.
Ooh, but Fang can't control the spray right there, and Mezzy looking to pull things back into his own favor there. 2-on-2 now. OSP on Grim as well, so put on notice, pushing the smoke, though timing couldn't be better there. Perfectly played from the duo of Halzerk and Grim. Excellent communication to deny that bomb plant as well, and Fnatic trying to sneak one past there on the 2-on-2, but they can't get the job done. So Complexity, their strength will continue.
And the worst case scenario for them was not getting the bomb down like what just happened. I mean, it looked like they had a good route into getting the safe digits punch, but it's just a well-placed retake from Complexity, or at least rotation coming through. Halzerk not giving up his life too soon. Same thing goes for, I believe, the flanker and Fang, but all in all, it adds up to this, which should be a surefire 12th round.
Well, it could be the case here. Hoping to lock down the CT side. Halzerk given some opportunities. Risky to test these pistols, especially when it's all deagles, but he is going to win out in a couple of duels, though. Messy is always good to respond, to reply, to do some damage in return. And that he will. Won't let things get away too easy.
I'm trying to think, like, I forgot to mention, so yesterday in Group A, there was no group who came out without a loss. And that could very well be the possibility here with the amount of teams Astralis still have to play. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Fnatic lose here, they would be the only team without a win or without a loss. So they have to play Complexity. They still have to play Fnatic. They still have to play BNE. So you'd imagine one of those is not going to go their way. So this would be, like, honestly, just a cool thing to think about for the group if Fnatic end up losing this. That there will be no, like, flawless team.
Yeah, it's going to make that playoff contention that much more tight-knit. Who's going to be grabbing that? All up in the air here and all soon to be found out. But Fnatic have some opportunities, maybe not so much in this round, but in the future to come. Mezzy, Eagle in play here, has to check the opposite vent. Did land a shot here, but Grim going to land some headshots that do the damage. Complexity up to 12. And now we see where the real force is here, where the real test can come for Fnatic. Can they make it work on the rifle rounds? Because Complexity, they continue their hot streak.
Did I just see an AUG purchase by Fang and then dropped in tandem to Halzerk? I know you can't afford an AUG here, but, like, damn, dude. This guy need a scope gun that bad? That's what I'm saying.
Definitely no scope, though, and Iguodos's hands. That's something we mentioned. Fang as well is going to catch Fasher, who's been lurking around towards that squeaky door so often. And he's gotten some success, but in this occasion, bested by Fang. not only takes more positioning in towards the secret side of things here, he could really take a lot of ground. He's forced to hold off some of this aggression if it does come his way. Roy's looking to test the issue in this direction.
Nobody's really being aware of this, though, right now. I mean, the closest man in the vicinity is Fang, and I would be surprised. Or rather, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't ever really get that far. A lot of times, people will maybe just come down secret, clear this out, give themselves that worry-free benefit of not having to worry about the flank. But no, instead, Roy pushes forward for a trade frag. Fang maybe biting off a little more than he can chew, but Fnatic still haven't committed anywhere off of this, and Complexity might be fooled into rotating a couple of members.
Well, then he picks their Pepser. Able to deliver some impact. But they still have to bypass Grim. And the AUG of Halzark, who clearly makes good work of it. A well-invested AUG there from Fang. And double up on the flashbangs and the conversion there from Grim. Crispy little headshot there. Roy making quite a bit of noise on this outer yard lurk here. Maybe not. Floppy doesn't seem to be too keen on his position. So Roy, oh man, what can he get away with if he plays his cards right? Trigger discipline to come in, but Floppy just turns the corner and sends a packing.
Yeah, this is a guy we didn't see or hear much from in that first map, so it's good for Complexity's sake that he's starting to wake up in this not only map, but this group stage alike. And the same thing goes for players like Halzark, then Fang, who's still able to continue his reign. Grim might have slowed down a little bit, but I don't know if that's more so on his own part or more than the fact that Complexity just haven't let him get the kills.
Yeah, it's tough to really diagnose, but either way, they're happy with the end result. That's what matters most. It's in the conversions here. And Complexity having no trouble with that conversion. Even, you know, despite some good efforts there, some nice opening picks coming through from Fnatic there. A couple taking place. They found some success on that A side. It's just far too much to bear.
Yeah, and at this point, the loss boost is going to start carrying you through the mud here. Fnatic probably going to be able to buy for the rest of the game. So Complexity, all of these rounds are going to be very hard earned. Also, let alone if they are able to throw a bomb plant into the mix in any of these rounds, then it's a surefire investment. But considering the situation you already left yourselves in, I don't think you're going to shy away from some out-of-pocket force buys. Outside control taken, little resistance met. Complexity instead just forfeit it. And a lot of utility expended on the early exchanges from them. I mean, you take a glance at the belts of Halzark, Grim, and Floppy, and you wonder, where is it all gone?
A lot of it dwindled early here, but might not matter if Grim's got the headshots, if he's got the mechanics to back it up here, and he certainly does. That's Roy hitting the deck quickly, and the reposition is swift from Grim. He finds himself one more before he does fall, but Floppy's rotated in time, and it's up to Fasher and Nikodos to pull this one back. There hasn't been any trades just yet.
I don't think there will be, man. With Nikodos also being spotted, it is really only a matter of time before this round is stolen away by Complexity. And that's what I was talking about. It's like, Grim, yeah, he hasn't really done much this game, but it's more so just on the whim that Complexity haven't let him. Finally, he gets to show what he can do, and he has a pretty damn nice 2K on the B site's defense. And again, with no bomb plant, Fnatic do eventually show their hand at a save and yield for what should be 15th for Complexity.
Yeah, this is brutal positions to be in here. This is much more like it, though, for Cole. Wasn't sure if he would even get this out of them. I think maybe wishing that they could have taken the issue over to overpass. So is certain. Grim gonna dive inside of the smokes, but they are collapsing it up on this A bomb site. JT has to hold steady, but only good for one before traded out.
Now Halzark's time to shine in the AWP around the rafters. Grim fighting a war on many fronts, and while he does fall, Halzark holds down the line and won't let the round go anywhere near the contention of Fnatic. It's the last potential round of the game, and now 9 chances to close it out for the Star Spangled Squad.
They're shooting from up above there. Gonna get the job done. And I don't know if Fnatic's gonna be in this map for too much longer here. Complexity, this is gonna be a big victory for them. Trying to make, again, the playoffs a whole lot more interesting, right? It's a little triangle of defeat and wins for these teams here in 500, Complexity and Fnatic. And it's going to make things oh so interesting, but Raptor flying around. He's going to find the kill. Roy quickly trades out Halzark, who responds, but 4 on 3. And they've already gotten down towards that lower bomb site as well.
But you got to crack through Fang first. And even amongst that, then you got to go through Floppy. Oh, he spotted in the smoke. Nikados! He gets away with a lucky one there. Feels like that definitely should have been spotted out by Floppy, but still Fang holds down the line. And now he's being flanked in from both directions. He's going to need the assistance of Grim just ASAP. Nikados in the control room. Another headshot taken away by Fang, who's ready to close this out. With no questions asked, it's up to Roy, the other Copenhagen recruit, to try to just stay alive in this game. Tagged up by a nade. It's nothing big when it comes to damage, but instead of just committing down lower, he wants to reposition. I don't know if he was maybe looking for utility or something, but instead just goes right back to the same spot. Only a flash to use. Time is, I'd say, in his favor, and with low health bars, this is nowhere near impossible, but it's still going to be tricky.
That's to nail the timing here. Fang gonna look to plop his head up there. There's the contact play. Roy able to isolate these fights, but eventually Grim's gonna close it and save the day.
Good closer from Complexity, man, and not one that I would have expected. Yeah, maybe you could argue for them to win it, but 16-6 is a whole different ball game. They never looked tested on that map. It was